What was the most ambitious building project in history? Was it the Great Wall of China? Maybe the Pyramids of Giza? How about an incredible mega project that spans over 150 countries around the world? That's what China promised with its Belt and Road Initiative, a grand vision that would connect the entire planet through trade and infrastructure. But what went wrong? Why has this initiative been nothing but a geopolitical disaster? And how are poorer nations suffering the most? You're about to find out as we reveal the shocking truth behind China's Belt and Road. Now, if you want to get the full context of this story, you need to go back to 2013, when Xi Jinping first announced the new Silk Road. It was going to be a massive project aimed at connecting Asia, Europe, and Africa through roads, railways, ports, and pipelines. And according to China, it would be the project of the century. In fact, just imagine the possibilities. Europe could access raw materials from Africa, while China could link up with Middle Eastern oil producers. African countries could open new trade routes to Asia, and even Latin American nations could join the network. Everyone would benefit from the new Silk Road. That was the promise. And in order to make this vision a reality, China pledged billions of dollars in funding. They offered loans, investments, and grants to any country that wanted to participate in the program. In fact, by 2021, China had funded more than 1,400 projects in over 150 countries. So it seemed like the Belt and Road Initiative was a huge success. But looks can be deceiving because, in reality, many of these projects are either incomplete or have outright failed. And that's left participating nations struggling to repay their debts. To understand how this is all working, let's take a look at one of the biggest Belt and Road projects, the Hambantota port in Sri Lanka. Now, when China first proposed the project, it looked great on paper. The government of Sri Lanka needed a new deepwater port to support its growing economy, and China offered to fund the entire project in exchange for a 99-year lease on the port. Sounds like a great deal, right? Well, not exactly. You see, while China was eager to fund the project, they weren't willing to lend Sri Lanka enough money to actually finish it. Instead, they only provided $3 billion in loans, while the total cost of the port was estimated at $15 billion. As a result, Sri Lanka had to turn to other lenders for the remaining funds. And guess who ended up owning the port? It's not Sri Lanka, but China. You see, the loan agreement gave Chinese companies the right to take control of the port if Sri Lanka defaulted on the loan. And that's exactly what happened in 2017. Sri Lanka was unable to pay back the loan, so China seized the port. And ever since then, the Chinese government has controlled one of Sri Lanka's most valuable assets. But why did China include such a problematic term in the loan agreement? Well, that's where the real story begins. You see, when China lends money to a foreign government, they don't do it out of the kindness of their hearts. Instead, it's part of a much larger plan to exert control over key infrastructure projects around the world. In fact, let me share something with you. A recent investigation revealed that 65% of Chinese-funded projects worldwide are in the energy and transportation sectors, which means China has gained significant influence over critical infrastructure around the world. And that is why many experts consider the Belt and Road Initiative a modern-day version of the Silk Road. Back in the olden times, merchants from China traded goods with Europe and the Middle East, but now China is using their wealth to control modern-day trade routes and gain a strategic advantage over the rest of the world. For example, in 2017, China took control of another major port in the region, the Colombo port in Sri Lanka. This gives them a strategic advantage over the Indian Ocean trade route, which carries nearly 80% of India's oil imports. And that's not all. China has also gained control of strategic ports in other parts of the world. For example, they own the Hambantota port in Pakistan, which is located near one of the busiest shipping lanes in the world. And they also have a 99-year lease on the Chittagong port in Bangladesh, which is a major hub for trade between Asia and Europe. Now, you might be wondering why these countries agree to these risky deals in the first place. Well, it comes down to two factors: desperation and greed. Some countries are simply desperate for help, while others are willing to risk anything for a chance to get ahead. Take Pakistan, for example. The country is in the middle of a financial crisis, and China has taken advantage of that. They've offered billions of dollars in loans and investments in exchange for access to Pakistan's deepwater port. Similarly, in Bangladesh, government was tempted by the offer of a 99-year lease on the Chittagong port. They saw it as a way to boost their economy and improve their strategic position in the region. But the reality is far from what they expected. You see, when China invests in a country, they don't do it without expecting something in return. And that's where the greed comes in. When China offers a loan or investment, they typically include some sort of repayment mechanism that benefits them in the long run. For example, they often require the borrower to use Chinese labor and materials in construction projects. And they also often include provisions that allow them to take control of the project if the borrower defaults on the loan. In fact, this has already happened in several countries around the world. For example, in 2018, China seized a major highway project in Kenya after the country defaulted on its loan. And in 2019, they took control of a power plant in Zambia after the government failed to make its payments. These are just a few examples of how China is taking advantage of developing countries and exploiting their desperation for their own gain. And it's not just developing countries that are falling victim to this. Even developed countries are being affected. For example, in 2020, Malaysia agreed to a Chinese-funded rail project worth $11 billion. But after taking a closer look at the deal, the new government decided to cancel it. They realized that the project wasn't financially viable and that the terms of the loan were too risky. But that didn't stop China from seizing the project anyway. They argued that the cancellation violated the terms of the contract and that Malaysia had breached the deal. So they took the matter to an international tribunal, and guess what? They won the case, and Malaysia had to pay billions of dollars in compensation. But perhaps the most egregious example of China's exploitation is in the country of Laos. See, in 2021, China completed a massive high-speed rail project in the country. And it was supposed to be a game-changer for Laos. But instead of bringing prosperity, the railway has brought the country to its knees. You see? The railway was built with Chinese labor and materials, and it was supposed to be a win-win situation for both countries. But in reality, Laotian officials were forced to sign a deal that gave China exclusive rights to operate the railway. That meant that the Laotian government wouldn't receive any revenue from the project. In fact, they would have to pay for the maintenance of the railway and cover any losses that China might incur. And guess what? China has already incurred massive losses, and Laos is on the hook for billions of dollars. But it gets even worse. You see, the railway was built with the expectation that it would generate significant economic activity for Laos. But in reality, it hasn't. There aren't many passengers, and the cargo business isn't booming. That means Laos isn't getting the economic boost they were promised. But here's the kicker. Despite the fact that the railway isn't making money, China is still deducting maintenance costs from Laos's government revenue. And that's left the country with very little money to operate. In fact, the situation is so dire that Laos has had to borrow money from China just to keep the lights on. And that's despite the fact that China is supposed to be the one benefiting from the railway. This is the true story behind China's Belt and Road Initiative. What started as a grand vision of global cooperation has turned into a nightmare for many countries. Now, before we wrap up, I want you to hear this quote from Deborah Brodeghem, a professor at American University and author of the book, The Dragon's Dilemma. She said, and I quote, "The Chinese model is based on elite capture, corruption, and coercion. There is no serious effort to design projects that serve the long-term needs of the host country." Those words really sum up the situation. China is not interested in helping other countries. They're only interested in helping themselves. So what's the solution? Well, the first step is awareness. We need to spread the word and let people know what's really going on. We also need to hold China accountable for their actions and demand that they stop exploiting developing countries. Finally, we need to support organizations that are working to expose China's corruption and help countries get out from under their debt. If you liked this video, check out our other videos exposing communist China. Also, subscribe to our channel and hit the bell icon so you never miss an upload. Your support helps us continue our work exposing communist China. Thanks for watching.